Hey guys, welcome to Preparing You for the fourth trimester. This is a masterclass that is going to be a little bit different than the standard prenatal classes that you take because this isn't about preparing baby and learning how to take care of them. This is actually about preparing you for the biggest identity shift, but the most beautiful chapter of your life, becoming a mum. My name's Dr. Emma Nagy, and I love to infuse mindset, spirituality, some education in there, energy, nervous system work. I love to incorporate a whole bunch of different modalities into the work that I do, and I'll be sharing with you many of them today because I think we've kind of come away from just looking at ourselves as our whole selves, our whole beings. And when we're preparing for motherhood, when we're becoming mums, it's like a mind, body, soul transition, like growth in all of the areas. And so I think it's a disservice to leave out a big, important piece of you. And that's why I'm so passionate about doing a masterclass like this and bringing this information to you because there is so much great info about how to prepare for baby, but less so how to prepare you. And most importantly, how to help you feel good through this whole transition, even through the harder parts of motherhood. So, this is like a foundational masterclass. It is going to be for you if you are pregnant, if you're first time mum, this is going to be so helpful for you. But even if you're a second time mum, you're becoming a mum again. And maybe you had a difficult postpartum the last time. Maybe you were more anxious than you wanted to be. Maybe it didn't just go as smoothly as you wanted to be. Maybe you didn't fully enjoy the baby stage as much as you wanted. But what you all have in common, whether it's your first time or your second or fifth, doesn't matter, is that you intend to be present for it. You value soaking this in and not from this affirmation, like everything is great, like all the time lens, but from actually moving through, growing through the harder parts that we'll get to so that you do feel more resilient, even in the hard parts, like authentically, and you do feel more resourced. And overall, what ends up happening is you end up having a lighter motherhood experience as a result. And so I love to help prepare you from the inside out, prepare your mind, your body, your soul for what is happening. And if you're pregnant, which you are if you're watching this masterclass, you probably notice so much growth within you already, so much change within you already, not just physically, but mentally too, in how you look at and view the world and maybe your priorities. And I think motherhood is so beautiful because it calls us to just be present, reevaluate, and prioritize what's really important to me. How am I taking care of myself? Because now we have this whole level of extra responsibility. I'm sure you felt it in pregnancy, of taking care of ourselves, not just for ourselves, but for our babies too. And I think it's such a beautiful gift to be able to give our babies a mom who is healthy, is enjoying herself, takes care of herself, is gentle with herself through the hard parts, gets support when needed, doesn't have to do it all alone, isn't a martyr, doesn't have to sacrifice everything she believes in or the things she enjoys for motherhood, but really learns to have both roles, keep your self connection and also grow this amazing connection with yourself as a mom and be able to keep your spark, keep your self connection, keep the parts of your life that light you up the most, the parts of your life that you value the most. And we'll be getting into some of this, really shaping the experience that you want to have as a mom. So, quick little background before we get into it. But yeah, a little bit more about me. My name's Emma. Like I said, I am a mum of two. I have two little boys. I am a wife. I've been married for 9.5 years. And I'm Welsh Canadian. So if you're wondering where the heck my accent's from, I was born in Wales in the UK. And then my family and I, my mum's Canadian. So my family and I moved to Canada when I was 11 years old, which was such this pivotal, life-changing transition within myself at that age. And looking back, I think it's prepared me to deal with like transitions, life evolutions well. And now it translates into my work, into helping mums. So I'm the founder of My Lighter Way and also the founder of the My Lighter Motherhood program, which is a pregnancy and postpartum support for ambitious mums to help you regulate your nervous system, prep your mindset, and just take care of your energy through this whole transition from pregnancy into postpartum and into postpartum. I also teach around the mindset and nervous system prep work when it relates to birth. I have a course called My Lighter Birth. So those are my two courses, My Lighter Motherhood, My Lighter Birth. I can link them down below. You can check them out after if you like and if you want to go deeper. But yeah, I've really infused the best bits from my background, which is, I have a PhD in mental health promotion. I've studied how to help keep you healthy. I really value emotional well-being. It's so important as mums, especially through pregnancy and especially through postpartum, which is really the first year and beyond of being a mum. But I've also layered onto that. I'm a mindset coach, nervous system regulation coach, and I help you infuse all of those things together to just feel like more harmonious through this whole transition as a mum. I really value and believe in using your intuition. I have a strong faith myself that I'm always cultivating and growing. And I love to use intuition in motherhood. So I'll always encourage you to listen to your intuition and use it and trust it as a mum because there is no one size fits all to motherhood. And so I think it's really beautiful when we're in tune with ourselves, we can discern, the difference between our intuition, our anxiety, what's running the show here, and ultimately, create a motherhood experience that is beautifully aligned with you and your family and your values and the life you want to create. So, with all of that, now you know a bit about me. I would love if you could share a little about you, comment, where are you from? Is this your first pregnancy? How many weeks along are you right now? And what are you excited for about motherhood? I would love to hear about that. All right, let's get into the masterclass. So today I really want you to walk away with a really clear picture on what the postpartum period looks like. And postpartum, like I said, it's like a year and beyond. But what we're going to fixate on or focus on for this particular masterclass is the fourth trimester. Like, what is it? What's it all about? What can you really expect? What does it tend to look like? And that will get you off on a really good start just to have that understanding because, it's helpful to look a bit ahead, but sometimes looking too far ahead is overwhelming and information overload. So we're going to focus on the fourth trimester because that is like the most vulnerable time, but also the most pivotal and transformational time. And I'm going to share with you, yeah, what to really expect. And then I'm going to help you create a vision for what the newborn stage gets to look like. So you're more clear, and you can start to even today tap into what you desire based on the questions I'll ask you. Get your intuition to answer. And just use this as a really good starting place that then you can have conversations with your partner, your family, and just start to build this like web of support around you as you go through that stage. So let's start with a real life picture of what those first 12 weeks really look like so you know exactly what to expect. And so you could head in prepared for your fourth trimester. And if you're in your second trimester and you're here early, love this view. You'll just have more time. You'll start to just, get into the energy and the excitement of what this next chapter is going to look like. And what I'm going to share with you today is actually going to help you soak in your pregnancy more as well. Some of the pieces you can pull into using right now. So yeah, let's get into it. So fresh after birth, I want to start here because this first 24 hours is like so precious. It's this whole initiation. It's like the moment, right? Birth is like the moment that you go from pregnant to like having a baby in your arms and like obviously you're a mum now that you're pregnant, but it's just like, whoa, okay, now I have a baby like out here that I'm taking care of, and your whole life kind of changes overnight. So first 24 hours deserve some attention, some planning, and some visioning as well. So you can picture what you want it to be like. So this is what it can tend to be like. Physically, obviously, you're fresh from birth. You'll feel, honestly, there's so many possibilities in terms of how you will feel after birth. For many of us, it's like this flood of adrenaline, especially if you have an unmedicated birth, especially if birth goes really well, and you'll just feel like this, like the best high ever, and just like this, like love, like pour in. And in the same breath, not everyone experiences this, and I don't want you to panic if this is you. I also like to look at it for women who don't get that immediate flood. Don't panic. Picture it like these like seeds growing and planting every day that like you will bloom into the love that you imagine feeling. You will get there, especially if your mental health is intact. That's really important to take care of through this transition. But yeah, you'll have like a range of experiences, but you're gonna be like your mind is going to be blown looking at your new baby and just seeing what they actually look like. Because I know you've been picturing it, talking with your partner, like, what do they look like? Looking at the ultrasound pics, being like, oh my gosh, they have your nose. But yeah, it's so fun. It's like you actually get to like meet them, like the newest little love of your life. And yeah, so emotionally, you could experience a range of things. Again, with birth, I just want to do a little caveat here and just a moment to encourage you to prep for birth, especially mentally, emotionally, with your nervous system. Those are things that aren't normally taught that I teach on. And one of the reasons I do this, A, is because it is so fun to prepare your mindset for birth. I highly recommend hypnobirthing. That's what I teach on, the principles of it, the breathing techniques of it, the visualizations of it, because it's so effective at helping you transform your birth fear and walk into birth with confidence. Another benefit that I've realized in hindsight and like since helping other mums is birth trauma is incredibly high. It's up to about 40 to 45%, and it doesn't actually have to be that high. Like, yes, there are many traumatic birth experiences. However, when you're prepared in terms of your mindset, when you are educated, when you know your options, when you advocate for yourself and have strong supports around you, all of these different things, essentially, there are different things that the research shows can decrease your chances of birth trauma. And so I'm like, hey, like, why not do that? Right? So if you're someone like me who just wants to give yourself like a really lovely, empowering experience, you might really love the land of birth prep, and just the benefits of it as well. So, yes, after birth, obviously, you're in a emotionally vulnerable state, like this precious state. Like, you're going to want probably lots of skin to skin. If you plan to breastfeed, you're going to want to establish breastfeeding right away. And just like give yourself that time, to have that skin to skin, to have that quiet time, to have that bonding time, advocate for it. Tell your healthcare professionals up front that that's something that you want, if that's something you value, and just build that into your plan. And then I always encourage moms when you're thinking like, what would I want this to look like? Is as well as that time and space for yourself, whether it's in the home or in the hospital or wherever you give birth, is just keep in mind that obviously you're in a physically vulnerable state as well. Uh, you know, Regardless of how you give birth, like your body has just gone through a lot, and you're going to be bleeding, you're going to be like breastfeeding, you're going to be, you're not exactly sure how you're going to feel. So just keep that in mind in terms of like visitors and who you would want there in that sacred space, and just, yeah, what you want that to look like. So, some questions for you to tap into. this feels helpful for you for your first 24 hours, who do you want with you immediately after birth to help you shower, to give you a snack, to ask how you're doing? Who's going to help you latch or establish breastfeeding? Because it's a whole learning curve. Some babies know how to latch right away, others don't. So it can be really amazing to have some support. Do you want visitors in the first 24 hours? Do you want them at the hospital? Or do you want to wait till you get home? Who's going to be bringing you meals or who's going to make meals for you? Or are you going to have meals pre-prepared that like maybe your partner can put in the oven? I don't want anyone doing any meals or anything productive in the first 24 hours in terms of housework, any of that. Actually, much longer, but we'll get to that next. Who's going to do most of the diaper changes in the first 24 hours? These are the things you can start thinking about. These are things you can start delegating, having conversations with your partner, so you can really intentionally step into those first 24 hours and more likely get the first 24 hours that you're wanting to have. So, first 2 weeks, what does that look like? So, I've chosen to focus next on the first 2 weeks because after the first 24 hours, it's like that's the next chunk of time that is its own transition, its own little kind of bubble, its own little universe in and of itself. And these are probably the most vulnerable 2 weeks of our entire lives, if not the most, right up there. And like we just talked about, right? It's vulnerable physically because you're just still fresh from birth, still healing from birth. You'll still be bleeding fairly heavily in those first few couple of weeks. And then, it'll slow down, but you'll still be bleeding for like weeks after that as well. But your milk will be coming in days 3 or 4. And with that, in these first 2 weeks, they're also extremely emotional. And this is the time that is so foundational and so important for our mental health to really nurture it and to set ourselves up to succeed within it. Because about 80 to 85% of us experience the baby blues. That looks like increased anxiety, more worry, like just this feeling of sadness, crying like a lot more than usual. It can kind of come on out of nowhere. You can be feeling fine. You can be like, oh my God, look how cute my baby is. And then moments later, you're just like crying and just feeling all this grief and sadness and heaviness. It might look like worry about the night ahead. A lot of mums describe it as kind of like a black cloud. For me, I remember the first time it feeling like this like doom feeling as the sun was setting and I knew that I had like a night ahead with my baby and I'd be like waking up and it just felt yeah, it just felt so emotionally like fragile. And I think maybe not enough women know to expect this, that it is normal for our emotions plummet after birth, most of them. And then our milk comes in 3 or 4 days in, so more hormonal changes. And we're just, yeah, we are in this vulnerable state. And our world has changed and our schedule has totally changed. And we have this like really beautiful, sweet, like amazing little baby who is also demanding like all of our energy, right? Or a lot of our energy. And so, what I think is so important and valuable to do is alongside pouring so much into your baby and meeting their needs and doing things like lots of skin to skin, feeding on demand. Some babies eat way more frequently, spoiler alert, than the every 2 or 3 hours, and that can be like very normal. It's called cluster feeding. You can look that up if you haven't, if you're not familiar with it yet. This is also, yeah, such a this time around pouring so much into them. You're going to have so many diaper changes. It's going to be wild. There's a stat that I read. I think it was like 140 minimum of diaper changes in the first 2 weeks alone. Don't worry, that pace drastically shifts and goes down. So if you're like, how the heck am I supposed to do anything in a day besides feed my baby and change diapers? I promise it does change. But yeah, it's just a lot, right? So as well as pouring into them, responding to their cries, cut like I don't care, spoil them with all of the cuddles. There is no such thing as spoiling a baby. They're going to want to be on you. They're going to feel the calmest when they're napping on you. You're going to be holding that baby a lot. So just alongside pouring so much love and care and nurturing your baby, I want you to give some of that to yourself too. Because, like I said, they're the most emotionally vulnerable weeks of our whole lives. And so to be able to take care of yourself through it is so powerful. And that's why I also think it's so important and so valuable, and why I'm teaching you this in pregnancy instead of postpartum is because there are some things you can do to make this time easier on yourself. So, for example, I have processes and step by steps to help you move through the baby blues quickly and just to not get taken down by them. Or if you start to spiral, if you start to get anxious, you know, to just bring yourself back, to stop those spirals so that they don't take away from your experience of being present as a mom. And then something else unique that I teach is around the prevention steps of helping you keep your mental health in better shape through the postpartum period, because so many moms, like 1 in 5, end up experiencing postpartum depression and anxiety. For many, it starts in pregnancy. If that's you, the best news ever, I think, is you can rewire that. It's not something you have to live with. It's not something that just inevitably has to get worse. And just for everyone, for all of us, just like we all have our physical health that you're probably taking care of. Maybe you're taking prenatal yoga classes and going to the gym in your second and third trimester. There are also some things you can do to support your emotional well-being, your mental health through this as well. And whether you have a history of depression or anxiety or not, or if you normally have excellent mental health, these are things we can all benefit from. And I'll go into some of those things that you can start to do a little bit later, more of those proactive steps. So, yeah, there are different things that you can start doing in pregnancy, which I think is so valuable to set yourself up for success in these first vulnerable couple of first weeks. And I think most of us tend to think of, okay, how can I feel supported in these first 2 weeks? And it's like, okay, get my meals made for me, don't do any housework. Highly recommend both of those things. We might get a doula to help us emotionally. And those things are fantastic. I think it's so empowering to have a village, to create a village, to prepare our village, to have it all lined up. Get a lactation consultant lined up for those first 2 weeks, even if they're just on speed dial in case you need them. Because, like I said, breastfeeding challenges or feeding challenges are really hard and very consuming and very stressful if they persist, because one of the biggest focuses for these first 2 weeks for you is going to be like helping just feeding your baby. They'll lose some birth weight probably, and then getting them back up to that and getting them, on their own little path of like growing. So when feeding doesn't go well, then obviously that's like extremely stressful, and we just want to make it as smooth as possible. So I always recommend an incredible lactation consultant. Find one that comes highly recommended, that's good, that has good reputation, that you vibe with, because they can just really make it so much easier. Like I said, 40 to 60% of us experience breastfeeding challenges. That was me. Lactation consultants can be like a lifesaver. And a lot of the challenges that we face, if you face them, you're not destined that it's not going to work. Doesn't mean that. But you might need a little bit of extra support. All right. I think that's all I wanted to say about the first 2 weeks. But yeah, just another prompt for your well-being, because it can be the difference between a postpartum experience that gets off onto a really good trajectory and one that doesn't. Because when your emotional well-being goes unchecked, especially in the first couple of weeks, if things persist or get worse, or you do find your anxiety rises, things like that, that's where it can start to turn into postpartum depression and postpartum anxiety. And I think it's just important to be aware of, because A, you can prevent them, like you can help increase your chances of preventing it, which is incredible. But also B, if you experience it, early intervention is going to be better. And getting the support you need sooner is going to have better outcomes for you, for your baby, for your relationship, for your bond, all that beautiful stuff. So just a plug to prioritize it. So a few little questions for you for the first 2 weeks. How do you want them to feel? How do you want to feel within this time? Like knowing it's one of the most emotionally vulnerable times of your whole life, how do you want to treat yourself? How do you want to talk to yourself as you like look in the mirror and see your fresh postpartum body? What do you want to think about yourself? Um, who's going to support you? Check in on your emotional well-being. Who's going to bring you snacks? Who's going to refill your water bottle? This is a time where you're gonna benefit from asking for a lot more support than you'd normally be comfortable asking for, or you'd ever need to ask someone for. But I promise it is so nourishing and lovely when you have someone, maybe a partner, maybe a parent, maybe a close friend, maybe all of the above to help support you during this time. And then that just frees up more of your time and energy to pour towards baby, but also to rest, to eat, to nap, to meditate, like whatever is going to help you in these early weeks. When I say meditate, I'm not saying like go off and do a meditation for like an hour with a newborn, but I just mean those little pockets of rest can be so nourishing and restorative. Like one of my favorite things to do postpartum was like go to my bed and then put on a guided meditation. I'm obsessed with guided meditations. I actually create them. But even before I did, I've just loved listening to them for years. But I find them so healing and restorative. Even if I don't fall asleep, I feel refreshed after. And there's research like showing the benefits of that too, which is pretty cool. But you can do that in pregnancy as well. Pop in a meditation, maybe you already do, in the afternoons, even for 15 minutes, can just be such a good refresher. And that can be a really easy, lovely, spa-like thing to do for yourself in the early weeks and months of postpartum as well. So now we're going to move on to the first 12 weeks. We've done the first 24 hours, started to picture that. First 2 weeks. Oh, yeah, something else you can start to picture is like, who do you want around in those vulnerable early weeks, knowing you might cry at any minute, knowing you're still bleeding, and like just knowing all of these things. Who do you want around? What boundaries do you think you might need to set? And if you're like, I don't know any of this yet, that's something else I can help you with. Inside My Light of Motherhood, which is my program that I told you about earlier, I have boundary examples. I have of like what boundaries to consider setting in the early weeks, boundary scripts, how to set boundaries in a really loving way so that your family members are less likely to just like, you're less likely to crush excited grandparents' spirits by being like, I actually don't want you to visit, but more likely to help them feel like they're part of your village, they're important part of the team, but also still protecting your peace at the same time. So those are just some examples of ways we could go deeper if you're like, yeah, I'd love to prepare for postpartum in a way that is a little bit deeper than the status quo and just to help you feel really ready mentally and emotionally in the first 12 weeks. So it's interesting because so this is the newborn stage. It's with the time that people are like, oh, it's like foggy or I don't remember it. Or especially if your mental health isn't doing well, that's the time that, can be like some of the hardest months. And just the most pivotal, right? To just getting off onto the start that we want as parents. We're a few months in to not sleeping through the night. I know for me, that was one of the things, or actually, I think beyond like the potential for breastfeeding challenges and just learning about those up front, the sleep thing I knew was going to be probably the hardest because I am a sleep girly. I love my 8 to 9 hours of sleep a night. I also love a nap. Even not pregnant, loved a nap, but especially pregnant, loved a nap. And I was just like, oh man, I think that's going to be the hardest part for me. And I'm not alone in that for so many mums that I know. And like when I ask mums, I'm like, especially seasoned mums, I'm like, okay, what are you? what are you most nervous about going into this postpartum? Again, so many of them, if they didn't suffer from depression or anxiety, because that's always their answer if they do, it's the exhaustion. It's like, oh, going back to the exhaustion. And so that's why I'm excited to share some things next to help with that because yeah, that's that's all obviously new. We've been on a newborn schedule for months. It is not normal or a normal thing. It to not sleep through the night for months. Maybe you're starting to experience that in pregnancy. But yeah, that does, play into things and it plays into how we think and how we feel and all of that. And so I love to think, and I'm like this with anything in motherhood. I was like this in pregnancy. It's like if I encounter challenges or if something is maybe less than optimal, if something's hard, I always like to look at and just kind of turn inwards and ask myself, okay, what's the lesson here? How can I grow through this? Like, really adopt a growth mindset and a perspective so that I don't struggle or suffer so much in the harder parts. I more feel like resilient through them, grow through them, become more gentle on myself through them, more loving to myself through them. And I think the first 12 weeks is honestly a beautiful time for self-growth. I know it's like, I'm going to be dealing with a baby. Why do I have to grow myself during this time? I promise it's going to be worth it because what is going to happen when you approach challenges or everything new or the change in your sleep, all of that, you are going to feel less resistance to the stage that you're in, to the hard part that you're dealing with, and you're going to find more acceptance in it. And I'm going to share a couple of things later that's like literally the difference between being awake in the middle of the night and feeling so bitter and so frustrated and like the next day is doomed to feeling like this deep peace in the moment and like this genuine feeling of like there is actually nowhere else I would rather be. And there are a few things that can shift you from that first picture to that second picture. You can literally be that mom A, the one who's bitter and like freaking out about the day ahead, thinking you have to cancel all your plans, to one that's like crying happy tears, looking down at your baby in the nursery at night, just by the few things that I'll help you with later that can shift you from that one to that one in a way that's like genuine, genuine and authentic. So, all right, that's it, I think, for the first 12 weeks. You are gonna actually, no, as I say that, there are a few other things. You'll start to feel more in the groove, like I said, especially if your mental health is intact. You will feel like, okay, I want to get out a bit more. I want to be a bit more social. I want to start going on those stroller walks that I pictured closer to the, end of the 12 weeks. You're like, okay, maybe I'll do like yeah, just start doing, incorporating some of the things that you enjoyed doing pre-baby. But like you'll probably want to be with your baby as you do them. So you might go out to a restaurant and you'll bring your baby and it'll be like you and your partner and your baby and you're like, oh my God, like dreamed of this. So those moments will like start to come and they will start to feel easier because at first there's like a whole checklist of everything you need before you go out of the door. And it feels like you have to do like math Olympics to even get out the door because you're like, okay, if I feed them, it takes this long to feed them, and then I'm gonna need to do a diaper change and then pack the bag and like you're like working back like 45 minutes or an hour before you leave the house. And then you're like, okay, and then they're gonna need to sleep at this point, and you like plan out the little when you're gonna go. Something to note here is in the first few months, a baby is not on any kind of schedule. Don't try and put your baby on any kind of schedule. Don't try and force anything. It is honestly so freeing when you can just fully embrace and step into this newborn chapter and be in it with them. You and your baby will literally be on your own little schedules and your own little your own little universe. And yeah, it's freeing to just accept that instead of trying and force them along or hurry them along or hurry yourself along and just really tune in. That's where I always come back to intuition. Tune into how you're feeling, what you need, what feels good to you, and just trust that at each step of the way. and try not to compare yourself to how other mums or how early other mums went out or how early they started back at their fitness routine or whatever. You might be early, you might be later. It doesn't actually matter. What matters is you're tuning into yourself and doing what you feel is right for you and your baby. Like I said, motherhood is this whole personal growth thing, and it's just one of those things that you're going to strengthen and strengthen is your intuition, your certainty, your ability to trust your decisions, to stand by your decisions, to go maybe sometimes against the grain of like what's normal or what other people are doing, just because you have this feeling of like what's best for you and your baby. And yeah, these are all things that will start to happen, maybe have even started to happen in your pregnancy. So, some questions for you for the first 12 weeks. Who's going to support things like the housework for the first at least few weeks? And again, it'll probably involve having conversations, getting out of your autopilot routines of who normally does what in the household. If you have a partner and they can just pour everything into you, they can take care of the house, they can make sure you're fed, remind you to take like Tylenol at the beginning or whatever, do the diaper changes, then I think that's beautiful. Get all the support. When friends and family ask you how they can help you, take them up on it, get them to give you a meal. If they ask you in pregnancy, you're like, okay, what are some things that you would want as a mum? Ask for gifts for you as well. One of the gifts, as well as food, because I'm such a foodie, I'm like, please give me food. If someone could drop off a meal for you with no obligation to visit, like, or have something delivered to you, or get you a gift card for a food place, that's a great thing. Cleaning service, I've heard of that too. Love that idea. I even tell moms my program, My Light of Motherhood, put it on your registry. It's like a great group gift, great thing for your besties to give you if you don't get it for yourself. And it's just an amazing emotional postpartum support for your mindset, your mental health, your energy, all of that. And again, something for you, right? Because people are excited to support you during this stage. I think there's just more awareness now, more people talking about how important it is to hold the mom as well as the new baby, to show up for her, not to just ask how the baby's doing and just completely ignore you. So, this is a time where you can be like, okay, these are some things that are going to help make this transition easier for me. And don't be afraid to ask for them. Something else that you can ask yourself is like, who's going to support you emotionally? You might have a midwife, you might have a doula, you might have a partner, best friend, mom, all of that. I think that's incredible. You might have a therapist if like you really need someone. Again, just another to share more about My Light and Motherhood. It is an emotional resource for you postpartum between the doula visits, like when you need something a bit more than like a partner to just listen to you or a friend to vent to. There are actually tangible things in there that can help your emotional well-being. Like I said, there's the baby blues practice. So you're like, okay, it's 2 a.m. or it's 2 p.m. and everyone's at work and they're just hitting me. You go in there, press play. Within 15 minutes, you're like, okay, move through that. You have the tools to move through it. There are also things in there, like there's a video, which I love, that moms have like revisited again and again and again around the heavier days. Like if you wake up and you have that dread feeling, or if you've had a really difficult night and you're like, oh man, like I'm exhausted, like how can I shift out of just thinking today is gonna suck and making that a cycle that happens again and again if you're not getting a sleep every night? There are practices that can help you shift your energy, shift your mood, and just help you feel better as well through the most of vulnerable emotional weeks. But then there's also things in there to help you with things like the identity shift that you're going to go through, matrescence, which is becoming a mom, this whole transition that you're going through, and just really taking care of yourself on like a mind, body, soul level as you do it. Like there are so many fun things. I have 3 whole modules in there around energy and different things that you can do, different practices, different tools, different ways of looking at things, different beliefs to try on and adopt. And everything's like a menu, you get to pick and choose the parts that feel good to you and try them on. And you're going to be amazed at what you can do when you shift your energy on the days that are feeling hard. And you're just going to feel so like powerful because even the hardest days, you find joy. Even the hardest days, you tap into bliss and acceptance and this deep peace. Even in the middle of the night, even first thing after a bajillion wake ups, you know that you have a plan, you have a way to feel better. So, again, just sharing because it's not like a traditional postpartum support that has normally existed out there. I have really tried to fill in the gap of like, yeah, like certain supports outside of you are great and so beneficial. They have been shown to help improve your mental health. It is amazing when someone can come over and like do something for you or watch the baby, you can sleep, like get all of those amazing supports too. My lighter motherhood helps you feel like you've got you in between, you know? Um, and I think that's like just a powerful place to be. So, yeah, other questions, who can help you get some rest? Hold the baby while you nap, even if you need a midweek break here and there. And again, just encouraging you to ask for support. So, I want to go into what it can actually look like when you stay out of survival mode and you feel supported to really enjoy it. I'm going to guide you through a little meditation so that you can really tap into and feel like what it looks like when things are going well. Okay, so I'm going to guide you through a 3 to 4 minute journey, and it's called the Bliss Activation. And what it is it's a guided meditation that I'm going to lead you through, super gentle and lovely. And what it's going to help you do is start to tap into your fourth trimester and just how incredible it can really feel in this exciting, pivotal chapter of your life where you get to meet the newest little love of your life. So start by gently closing down your eyes, and on the inhale, take a deep breath in, and on the exhale, just relax your whole body. We're going to get started by imagining a gold box in front of you. And this gold box is there for you to put anything you might be nervous about, maybe anything that's even come up in this masterclass that you were aware of before, but things that you anticipate might be a little tricky or just feel like an unknown, or just things that you're maybe a little stressed about. And we're just going to imagine just putting those items in the box because you don't need to think about them, do anything about them right now. And what we're going to do after you've put them all in the box, so we're going to put a matching gold lid on this box, and then you're going to tie it up with a red bow, just like a little gift. And at the end of this masterclass today, I am actually going to give you a gift to take home to try tonight. It's a download for a bit of a longer meditation. It's about 20 minutes. And what it's going to do is anything you just put in that box, anything you're a bit nervous about, you are going to start to rewire and shift the energy of that later. Okay? So imagine that some of the worries you have might be taken care of. There are things that you can do to put your mind more at ease related to these things. And I will literally give you a gift later to help you do that. So we are clear, ready to assume and experience a fourth trimester that feels delightful, one that feels peaceful, present, gentle, and honors the exact stage that you're in, the physical conditions, the emotional conditions, all of it. You are so cared for in this experience. And that is the vibe of this little journey that we're about to go on. So, you are in your fourth trimester. You are mentally clear, you're prepared, and you're supported and free to enjoy it. Picture this. After birth, your baby is placed on your chest. They are warm, they are squishy, and they are curled up right before your eyes, lying on your chest. Your heart bursts with pride as you stare down at them. Core memory unlocked. Next, it's a few days later, and you're in your home, in your living room, cuddling your new baby on your favorite spot on your couch. Your favorite person hands you a coffee and your favorite snack. There's a pile of dishes in the sink, but you don't even notice because you're not the one doing them. Then there's a knock at the door. Your first visitors. Who is it? What do they bring? How do you feel showing off your new baby from this calm state? They sense when it's time to leave, and now it's you and your new little family again. A quiet evening in. Your favorite meal gets delivered by a friend, dropped off at the door with a note that says, "Enjoy, love you." No obligation for a visit, just support. You're still fresh from birth, a few days in. You feel an intense wave of emotion start to come towards you. You feel fearless in this moment. You know what to do so it doesn't take over, and you literally look that feeling in the eye and just think, I'm not scared of you. We're good here. Moments later, you're back to staring down at your baby, something that you can't believe you could just do for hours, never get bored of it. Hours later, it is just you and your baby awake in the nursery. You're feeding them in the middle of the night. Looking down at your baby as their eyes start to close, tears fill your eyes, the happy kind. There is nowhere you'd rather be than right here. As the months go on, you start to get more energy and you've learned to adapt to the night wake ups, which feels amazing. Even on the most tiring days, you wake up with a plan to get some rest, to feel better. You just know how to take care of yourself through this chapter. The moments with your baby you've been dreaming about just months before are here now. Those stroller walks in the morning sunshine you'd imagined since test driving the stroller in the store, the play dates over coffee with your bestie, the baby swim class that becomes one of your baby's favorite experiences of the whole week, the evening snuggles that end your days, the baby babbles in the bassinet that have joyfully replaced your alarm clock, the first family trip. You were here for all of it. The first cries, the first smile, the first time they got hurt. You were here for all of it. And even when you went back to work when it was time, you made the quality of your presence a priority. You got all of it. The experiences, the love, the support, the impact you're here to make. If you could sum up this entire experience in one word, what would it be? Is there anything else you'd add to make it feel totally yours? Something you'd add to your first year with baby bucket list? One more question. What's your favorite part of your day with your baby? That's it. Gently open your eyes. Welcome back. How was that for you? I would love to hear if you can type it in the chat. I hope that shows you that a dreamy, peaceful postpartum is possible for you. I would love if you could type it in the chat, share with me what it was like, what you experienced. And I want to share with you now some of the things that can actually help bring it to life because what we know from the research with so many mums out there, struggling or ending up kind of like hating the baby stage, hating these whole chapters, which might go against their core values, but they don't know another reality. I think a lot of the issues out there relate to how we've been taught to prepare and really some of the pieces we've really missed out on, the opportunities we've missed out on that research is starting to catch up on, just related to how to step in to postpartum internally resourced and externally supported to feel better through it. And a lot of it does have to do with that inner resilience. And we've been so focused on educating ourselves, on getting the baby items, on getting the nursery, all finished on like the logistical pieces, on the logical pieces. But we're emotional beings, to really feel good in the newborn stage, we have to know how to feel good, even in newborn conditions. And there are a few key things that you can do to do that. And I've called this the My Lighter Motherhood method. And really, it's made up of different facets, like within ourselves, different areas of our life we can harness and call upon and leverage and resource ourselves deeper to be able to have a more peaceful present postpartum experience. And because as well as like having the plan, the vision, the logistics in place for postpartum, we do like benefit so much when we are internally resourced to be able to handle it. So, what do I mean when I say internally resourced? I'm going to go through with you the My Light and Motherhood method and share with you a few key things that can really make a huge difference in terms of how you feel postpartum. So, the first one is within you. We're going to start focusing on you, okay? So we can focus on those, we can get those external supports around us, we can get the partner, the doula, all of that stuff. But for the rest of this masterclass, I want to focus on you. One of the first layers that you can focus on to just support yourself through postpartum is helping keep your nervous system regulated. So, when our nervous system is in fight or flight mode, we go into survival mode, right? We go into that feeling of like, I'm surviving day by day. That is more of like a suffering, more of a struggling feeling. And unfortunately, it is, you can imagine, pretty easy to go into survival mode when we are literally pouring so much into energy into our baby while existing on a newborn sleep schedule and our hormones plummet and we're not getting the sleep that we normally need. And it is this like physically, emotionally demanding time. So, of course, it makes sense that so many people are in survival mode during this stage, right? And that's where one of the pieces is regulating your nervous system. Because when you're able to regulate your nervous system, even in less than optimal physical conditions, you are literally teaching your body that it's safe to be in this moment, it is safe to be in this chapter, that you can still thrive through it. And when you regulate your nervous system, you get yourself out of survival mode and into that thriving mode, into that thriving as a new mom and just enjoying that little cocoon of your family way more than the harder parts and making that like your baseline. I always say make bliss your baseline. And when I say that, I don't mean to experience bliss 24/7, but it's your baseline. It's where you return to. It's like that calm, centered, grounded place that you always know how to access. And your nervous system is one of the keys that is going to help you get to and stay in that place out of survival mode and into enjoying the newborn stage. The next piece is your mindset. I love talking about mindset because it literally is the difference. This is a thing I was saying I was going to tell you about later. It's the difference between waking up in the middle of the night for like the fourth time and thinking tomorrow's gonna suck, gonna have to cancel that walk with my friend again, to feeling calm and in control about the whole thing, feeling like, okay, I obviously would love to be sleeping right now. However, I value being here. Your mind is aligned with like your values and you can get yourself to a place where you're like, there's actually nowhere else I would rather be in the whole world right now, and actually mean it and have a plan for the next day to be gentle on yourself and catch up on rest and all that stuff. And like I said, if you want ideas for that, I have so many inside My Light and Motherhood, all about energy and taking care of it, even on the tired days. But our mindset is so powerful because our thoughts can also shape how we feel. So if our first thought is, ugh, not again, when you hear your baby wake up, I think it's really powerful to be able to shift it. And then why we don't just do mindset work alone. Your your body's not going to believe it without the nervous system regulation piece, without physically feeling safe in the present as well. And so that's why I love to teach you the things that click together. It's like click, 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 click. So that it's not just like slapping an affirmation band-aid on an open wound. It's like, okay, I actually am getting all the parts of me on board to feel safe and enjoy and soak in this moment and end up loving the newborn stage. Okay, the third piece is your energy. No one is talking about this, but I am obsessed because your energy is so valuable. And I feel like when we picture the newborn stage, we want to picture our energy like pouring out with like so much overflow, so much love, so much abundance towards our baby. We want to like give them the most abundant start together, meet all their needs, give them all the love, like give them just all the abundance and everything they deserve. And how powerful for your baby to experience that start, right? And one of the keys to doing that is to really looking after yourself during this and supporting your own energy. So, what I love about the energy work is like, even on those tired days, you know how to shift your energy, protect your energy, stop yourself like from like leaking energy everywhere and like getting drained, and yeah, just nurture it, elevate it, and like surprise yourself by like, hey, I'm rocking it. I'm feeling good in this. And rocking it doesn't always mean going out and doing all the things. It can be literally being at home, cuddling your baby for hours and on end, totally guilt-free, even if there are dishes in the sink. Like protecting your energy, it's going to look different day by day, but supporting it, elevating it, taking care of it is literally the difference between hating the months of exhaustion and finding peace within them, creating fun within them. And then the last piece I love to help you click together. So, we're going to talk about today things you can harness and leverage. Again, these are all things you can be doing in pregnancy, supporting your nervous system, your mindset to get on board with this next chapter, your energy to like feel as good as you can in this stage. The other thing you can start doing in pregnancy that is going to help you so much into postpartum, start harnessing your intuition, use it, leverage it, prioritize it, value it, see it as this real, real thing that is going to help you. Um, yeah, no one's really talking about this, especially in more like traditional education type environments, but so valuable when you can harness your intuition. And it's the thing that it's going to help you decide, like, yeah, this is right for me and my family. I'm going to trust that, or no, it's not. And again, one of the reasons I also help you with your mental health and why I encourage you to support your mental health through this time is because you're less likely going to be letting anxiety accidentally run the show, and you're going to be more clear and in tune with, okay, this is actually my intuition. I'm going to let that run the show instead. Sorry, guys, just pause there to get a cup of tea. But yeah, that's the My Lighter Motherhood method, like the first layer of it. There are actually three layers of the My Lighter Motherhood method. And I call it the My Lighter Motherhood method because it's essentially, like I said earlier, it's like that blend of different things to help our mind, our body, our soul, all of that just feel more nourished and supported through postpartum. And so in this method, that first layer is all about you. It's all about helping you feel internally resourced, to be more at peace, more present, and suffer less and enjoy it more in the newborn stage. And those pieces are just all the different things that you can consider, leverage, use to your advantage to help make this a smoother transition on yourself. And just a quick recap, that your nervous system, your mindset, your energy, your intuition, and your mental health and emotional well-being as well. Those are like some of the key pieces to, as well as like having your physical needs met, your basic physical needs, looking after yourself after birth. These are some of the key things that are less talked about, but really can make a huge impact in the way you experience your first year with your baby. So that's why I'm obsessed with teaching about them. Like, not only are they fun, like, how fun to work on your mindset and like have a positive, growth oriented mindset during the hardest parts, but also allowing your mindset to let you settle into and enjoy more and get clear on and create a vision for what you want this to look like to manifest it and to look after yourself on all these different levels. So you actually, like your nervous system, for example, so you actually feel safe in it, you know? This is a time that so many of us have dreamed of, prayed for, been so excited about, and it's just like so beautiful when we get to settle in, enjoy it, soak it in because, you've probably found this in pregnancy and it's like such a cliche of like time goes so fast and time flies and all of that and like the newborn stage and babies don't keep and everything's so fleeting and it is true. And I think what has helped me so much, and I'm so glad I integrated this in pregnancy, is just that value of presence, just that value of like being here, soaking it in, settling in, even through the harder parts, maybe especially through them. And then when you're present through it and you set that intention and you have all these beautiful tools to like help you actually feel more present in it in a world that's so busy and our minds are going a bajillion miles an hour and there are all these distractions and so many tugs on our energy and our time and all of that. It's so beautiful when you can just like slow down and settle in to these like fleeting moments with your baby, even right now in pregnancy. And actually, I hadn't planned on sharing this today, but I'm going to because this was like my favorite practice that I did in pregnancy. It has helped me feel like I've soaked in every step of the way, even the times where I'm like, oh, my kid is now in daycare and I don't get to be with them as much as I would have wanted, like those kinds of situations. It's allowed me to still feel present every day, still settle into presence every day. And I actually learned it and started doing it in pregnancy. And if you want a visual cue, whenever you notice the clock for the rest of your pregnancy at 11:11, I want you to just pause even if you're in a meeting, honestly, you can do it wherever. And I want you to drop into the present for like a whole minute. And what that entails here, I'll lead you through it. This is my 5-second presence practice for motherhood. So what you're gonna do, and you're pregnant, so I'm not pregnant, but I'm gonna pretend with you because I just know that feeling. It's like I was so present in it, I can like imagine just being right back into it, even like 6 years later. So just put your hands on your belly, take a deep breath in. On the exhale, relax your whole body, drop your shoulders, and do it again. Inhale in right into the belly. On the exhale, just relax your whole body, soften it. And you're going to tune in to your baby. Draw your attention to them. What are they feeling right now? What are you thinking about them right now? Just be with them. And then open yourself up to a feeling that you want to call into the present right now. For me, it was often gratitude or just awe at the actual miracle happening inside me right now that I was part of. And I would just settle in to that feeling and let it fill me up and just be in it, connecting with baby with that incredible feeling for like a whole minute. And our minds wander, but we just bring it back. It's all right. We bring ourselves back to the now. Oh my gosh, I can't believe that it's right now. This moment, it's like so special. Just connect with them. If there's a little message you want to share with them, send it. If there's anything you want to hear from them, receive it. Just enjoy being here. And when you're ready, bring yourself back, give them a little hug, and yeah, you can go about the rest of your day. You can try that whenever you want. Maybe you do a variation of it already. That's amazing. And what I love about that kind of little mindfulness practice is that, say it's little, but it's so powerful because you can imagine when you stack that, multiple times in the day if you want, or extend that 1 minute to a minute and a half, 2 minutes. And, a few months from now, you'll be in the nursery in the middle of the night holding that baby and do that practice with them. It's something you can always take and do and drop you right into the moment. And those moments stack. And those moments are presence. And those moments bring peace into your whole life. And you can imagine that when you do them over and over again, and that's just like so habitual, you don't even have to think about it. There are no steps to do. You don't have to think of, okay, this is what I'm going to focus on next. You're just simply able to drop into the present more effortlessly. That's a stage that I feel like we all would like deserve to get to or love to get to. Um, and just the more we can do that, even in our even in our world, even with the chaos of kids and blah blah blah, um, it's just so much more enjoyable, honestly. It's gonna stack it up that you're like, I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with my life, being present in it? So yeah, that's why I love sharing all of these things with you. I hope that they helped you. That's like layer one of the My Lighter Motherhood method. I'll quickly go through some other things because these are some other things you can start thinking about doing, putting into place in pregnancy. Um, but the second layer outside of you feeling good and having those pieces like locked in within yourself. Um, and by locked in, there's no like perfect state to get to, but just the practices, right? Like practices for you to get your mindset in line with how you want to feel, your body in line for how you want to feel, doing motherhood consciously on purpose, aligned with your vision, your family values. These are all things that, you can really like give yourself that gift of doing that. And I think pregnancy is such a beautiful time to proactively prepare for postpartum, to we're like naturally wanting to nest, especially around the third trimester. And we still have some time and space before baby comes. And so it's just like such a beautiful way to start moving through this matrescence period, whether it's your first time or your second time or whatever. Your identity is shifting, you are shifting, you're being called to expand your energy, lean on your intuition more than ever. Really like adopt a mindset that is going to support you and a way of being that is going to support you. And yeah, pregnancy is just the perfect time to do that. Like you're already on this journey, so might as well embrace it, right? And I'm sure you are. But those are some other things you can layer on to your birth prep and your postpartum prep that you might find super, super fun. And if you do, you're gonna love My Lighter Motherhood because that is the whole vibe. So I'll tell you a bit about it at the end in case you're interested, just to let you know what exactly is inside of it. But before we do that, I want to talk to you more about the My Lighter Motherhood method because you can start doing this now. So, as well as yourself, getting yourself all supported from the inside out, the second layer that you can layer on is your people in terms of getting your people to help protect your peace, have your well-being also at top of mind as well as a baby in the newborn stage so that you feel really supported and don't feel like you're doing it all alone. So, pregnancy is the perfect time to prime your core relationships, especially for the newborn stage. And you already have some actionable things you can start implementing right now from this masterclass based on how you answered the prompts I gave you earlier. So, for example, who do you want around for the first 24 hours, the first 2 weeks? Who's going to be helping support your physical needs? Who's going to be checking in on you emotionally? All those kinds of things. Those are things you can start having conversations about upfront, starting to set expectations, find out from your partner what they're picturing, what you're picturing, have those conversations so you guys can be that solid team going in. And that's one of the other things that I think we have a really powerful opportunity to do something maybe a little differently and start to shift some more paradigms around motherhood from not only just like not having to survive or struggle through the newborn stage or any stage of motherhood, but also if you're in a relationship to keep your relationship strong because you hear things like separation and divorce rates, and the research shows like after baby, relationships can become more disconnected. And as you add more children, it can become more disconnected. And there's so much out there and so many examples of that. But I think it's also really powerful to be able to vision like what do you want as a family and start to have conversations, open those lines of communication, come up with a bit of a plan. Monthly date nights are great, but it's like the connection in your kitchen. That's that's the difference between like a relationship that's going to thrive over time as well. It's like those little micro moments and making sure resentment doesn't build and sharing the mental load and the physical load, even if not 50-50, because that's often just not even realistic with a newborn. A lot of the time things do more fall on the mom, especially if you're like breastfeeding. But like we said earlier, it's like there are so many opportunities for your people to support you. And it can be also another area of personal growth that we have to go through. I know this was the case for me, but just like even setting boundaries with family members and like how do I do this in a loving way that's loving towards me, but also towards them. There are just, yeah, so many things to navigate. And I think with parenthood, it's an opportunity for our relationship to evolve. Our relationships will change, like the physical intimacy will change for a bit. The emotional intimacy, maybe. Sometimes a relationship can start to take a little bit of a back seat, especially because so much energy is being poured into your baby. So it's like, okay, while all of this change is happening, how can we like prevent ourselves from growing apart? And like the times where we're like, oh, oh, my relationship has been taking a bit of a back burner, like, or oh, resentment starting to build, or oh, like instead of seeing those as red flags that it's going to end and like following that path, that's where the mindset stuff comes into and your vision, your nervous system regulation, discerning intuition from anxiety, all those things are like getting support so good. But it's your awareness that is going to help bring you back to where you want to go together and keeping those lines of communication going along the way. And just parenting because of the added like stress and all of that stuff that can happen, not for everyone, but for many, it's just an opportunity to make sure you're on the same page and operating as a team and have a shared vision and just continually respecting each other and bringing those core values that you probably already have into postpartum. All right, so that was the second layer. The third layer of the My Lighter Motherhood method, the third layer of what you can, and I look at this as like a cocoon, like the newborn bubble, like little beautiful bubbles of protection around you. It's like you've got you, your people have got you, your partner, your in-laws, your parents, your besties. And then even outside of you, I think of like the biggest layer, which I feel like is faith. If you have faith, God, like the universe, just so you're so protected. But the one the one below that, or the one, I don't know if it's below, I don't know the order of these in no one's K. But you got your people, you got your village, okay? So the village I think of is like experts, communities, people outside of like your normal people, that you might call on, hire, um, get extra support. It could be like YouTube videos, podcasts, books, the lactation consultants, prenatal yoga instructors, pelvic floor physiotherapists. Please, everybody get one for postpartum. We don't need to be 40 and or 50 and jumping on a trampoline and then peeing. Like pelvic floor physio, helps with all of that. So for most of us. So yes, get one of those. But yeah, head into postpartum, so resourced, so supported. And yeah, don't be afraid to ask for extra support. I think it is so nourishing, so beautiful. If you ever are struggling, get even more support. I always think of like getting myself a little army of support anytime in the past where like my anxiety has spiked. One time I was like seeing a therapist and I was also taking an energy course and then I was also taking an intuition course. And those things like totally shifted my vibration and helped me think in a different way and switched my mindset and just showed me so much possibility around like, wow, like our brains and our bodies are really incredible. And there are certain things that we can like do to help us bring ourselves back into alignment and back more to our in touch with our essence and who we really are, and back to feeling safe and joyful and all that in the present, feel good in our lives that we've created. There are just so many supports out there that can help you through it. And I would love to be one of the supports that helps you through it. I'm so grateful you attended today. And I've got a chance to connect with you through this, even though it's like virtually. But I would love to continue working with you and be one of your village supports, the one that helps you with your mindset, your energy, your nervous system, your mental health and emotional well-being, and like your self-concept and like your relationships, and just helps you live in alignment with what you really want for this next stage, what you really want for the beginning of your new family to feel like. And My Lighted Motherhood is a beautiful place to help you navigate this transition. And it always brings you back to your essence. And that's one of the last things, or I guess the last thing that I will leave you on is your self connection. This is a stage where obviously your identity is shifting. You're becoming a mom. I think it is such a beautiful opportunity to become your most fulfilled, most you self. Um, Becoming a mom is like one of the greatest gifts we'll ever receive in this lifetime. I know you don't take that lightly. I didn't take that lightly. I still don't. And your self-connection through all of this is so helpful, so beautiful, so I think important to cultivate. And there are so many ways that you can do that. You learn about yourself so much as a mom through this change. You learn about what you want, what you don't want, um, who you are, who you're being. And I think having children, having babies really invites you to look inwards and be like, okay, who do I want to be as a mom? How do I want to show up? What energy do I want to bring when I'm with my kids? Like, how can I help them feel present, healthy, enjoy their lives? And just so much of it comes back to how we're doing that for ourselves. And so your self-connection is valuable. Your essence is valuable. You matter. Your mental health matters. Your well-being matters. Your energy matters. And I just want to help you take the best care of it throughout this whole transition. Because I think supporting your emotional well-being, your mindset, your energy, your nervous system through this whole transition are some of the most powerful ways you'll use your time in the rest of your pregnancy, some of the most powerful ways you'll nest. Because when you get those things aligned for postpartum, when you feel aligned within yourself, like you got yourself, like you can handle it because you can, everything else just feels easier, better. And it's like, even if you do experience the breastfeeding challenges, at least you're going to know how to regulate yourself through it, how to feel present through it. You can use the present practice I just taught you a few minutes ago. It's like the hard things become less hard, and they're not really the norm. They're not the things that stand out in your mind. It's like the lessons you learn from them stand out, the things you gained from the hard parts. But it's also like stacking the moments of feeling good in the moment. And that just transforms your whole motherhood experience. So that's why I just think supporting yourself through this transition, honoring yourself is just like the greatest gift you could ever give yourself, the greatest gift you could put on your baby registry, the greatest gift you could give to your baby, because they want the best for us, you know? Um, yeah, they just want the best for us. So, yeah, so I've created this program. It's pregnant, it will help you from pregnancy through postpartum, soak it all in, to go into postpartum feeling really resourced, prepared. It's going to give you all the examples of things like boundaries to set, conversations to have with your partner, scripts for setting loving boundaries with family members that might be uncomfortable conversations to have, but you got to do it in a way that's like really loving, and feel so supported in it. There's so much in there around all the layers that I was talking about earlier with like your energy to like help you on the most exhausted days of postpartum, things to help you through the emotional first few weeks, tools, practices, step by step, things you can just plug and play into. It is like a whole menu in there, and I'll link it below so you can like peek through the modules. Um, and what it's all going to do is just going to help you feel more supported through matrescence, through this whole exciting life change. It's going to help you keep your spark as you do it, keep your self connection as you do it, feel more present, more joyful, more at peace as you do it. And yeah, I'm so excited to welcome those of you in who you're like, yeah, this is calling my name. But yeah, I would love if you send me a message on Instagram or just below. Let me know what your biggest takeaway is. Let me know your favorite part of this masterclass. What are you going to be taking away? What are you excited to implement? Because I guess that's the last that this is the last thing I want to leave you on. Talking about all this stuff as concepts is cool in terms of shifting our awareness, starting to get our mind on board that, like, oh, like this is possible for me to enjoy it, not to have to struggle through it, to feel resilient, not just ignore the hard parts, but to just equip myself for it. But when they're just concepts, they're no better than a regular, I don't know, app or book or anything that we normally do to prepare for baby. It stays on the logical level, is what I'm trying to say. But when you're manifesting anything, when you're wanting to see real results in your own life, I just want to encourage you to bring, whether with me or on your own, would love to hand you all of my favorite things that I know that have helped me, that have helped so many other women. You can look at the page. There's, examples of other women, first time moms, second time moms, who have had more enjoyable postpartum and first year experiences with their babies as a result of this inner work that they've done for themselves. But take it and put it into practice and take action on it. And I can't wait for you to experience the magic and the beauty and the love for yourself. All right, that's it, my lovelies. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll talk to you soon.